Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be in Kyiv, but in particular, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk with a group like this, even knowing, and Steve and I are an example of this, that we don't always agree, and I want to make that point. Some of you may know we've disagreed about the weapons issue and other details of what American support for Ukraine should look like. But I want to make the point that I think that's what's unique about Ukraine. That's why Ukraine matters. Because this is a place where you can be a friend of Ukraine, you can be a supporter of Ukraine, you can have a close connection to this place, and you don't have to follow a party line. That's a critically important value that distinguishes Ukraine and that we have to appreciate and prioritize going forward. And in that respect, I want to note, so on this visit to Ukraine, I've had the opportunity, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but I've been in Lviv, I've been in Dnipropetrovsk, and I've been in Kyiv, and I've had the chance to interact with our alumni from Kharkiv, from Chernivtsi, from Crimea. We have over 100 alumni from Ukraine, from the Kennan Institute. And I have gotten one message very loud and very clear. And if there was ever any reluctance to accept that message, I've overcome it, and I'm going to take it home with me. And that is that from the perspective of every Ukrainian I've talked to, the war that you're in now is a war about values. And the values that you stand for are the values of the West and the values of the United States. And so the expectation of the United States is that we do more than simply reassure our other allies, others who have crossed the red line or made the commitment to those values some time ago, decades or more, but that we actually do something to signal our real commitment to you in your time of need on these values. I've heard that. I don't have the perfect answer, and I haven't come here to peddle it, but I understand that what we're doing isn't enough, and I'm going to take that message back. The second thing that I've seen consistently, and that I think is common between the American and the Ukrainian non-governmental sectors, is creativity. I'm seeing the emergence of new institutions that are coming from beyond the world of government and beyond the world of big business that we're so familiar with that matter. Voters' unions, new educational institutions, university faculties, whole new approaches to education, and even entrepreneurial approaches to getting things done that government otherwise would, because government hasn't worked to do those things. And I think in that area, more engagement with the United States is needed. Probably the third thing that I have heard more than anything else, loud and clear from people from all different parts of the Ukrainian political spectrum, is enormous frustration with government, and frustration more specifically with politics. And I think that the only answer we can really muster in the United States to the idea that Ukrainians are not satisfied with the way that politics works in this country is, to the extent possible, to go around politics, to think about Ukraine in longer strategic terms. What, in fact, is it that makes Americans interested in Ukraine? Why should we care? Other than the fact that, hey, we like Mr. Poroshenko, we like Mr. Yatsenyuk, so we'd sort of like to have a relationship with them, right? What is it that we like about Ukraine? Why is it that Ukraine actually matters, and what then will motivate us to have a commitment to Ukraine that will endure beyond one American presidential administration or one Ukrainian administration? And if I have just a minute here, let me just say that I think the biggest contribution we can make between the civil societies in the United States and Ukraine is in building on the knowledge base. I am consistently surprised at how little Americans have had exposure to what Ukraine is. And so I think we shouldn't be surprised when there are misconceptions about realities in Ukraine, about the Ukraine-Russia relationship, or even that there is a Ukraine. I guess I just say that recently, in an exchange with my insurance company, I was asked the question, what is Kyiv? And I had to explain. So we're educating on small levels. We're also educating on big levels. I want to give credit to Katya Smagli, who runs the Kennan Institute here in Ukraine. We have over 100 alumni. We will bring more Ukrainian fellows to Washington, D.C., and we want to invite more in the future. And I want to thank you again for giving me the opportunity.